Picture this. You're sitting in a massive all-hands meeting.
Yeah.
The company sprung for the good catering. The energy in the room is just electric. And leadership is up on the stage having their big Steve Jobs moment.
We all know the one.
Right. They are enthusiastically rolling out the newest, most expensive AI tools your company has ever seen.
We are talking state-of-the-art predictive platforms.
Exactly. Massive data infrastructure overhauls, the slickest workflow automation money can buy. The CEO is up there talking about a total paradigm shift.
A revolution.
Right. Everyone leaves that meeting expecting an absolute revolution in how the daily grind gets handled. But then, fast forward 6 months.
And you look around.
You look around your department, you look at your own daily tasks, and, well, nothing has really changed.
It is entirely the same.
The grand revolution looks more like a rounding error. A few people use the new chat interface to write emails, maybe, but the core business. It is running exactly the same way it did a year ago.
It is a scenario playing out in organizations everywhere right now, from massive Fortune 500s all the way down to small agencies.
Yeah, and today we are going to figure out exactly why that happens, and more importantly, how to fix it.
Because there is this glaring disconnect between the jaw-dropping capability of the tech being purchased and the actual day-to-day reality of the people who are, supposed to be logging in and using it.
So our mission for this deep dive is to unpack the real reason these massive AI initiatives stall out. We are drawing from a truly fascinating article by Jaideep Parashar.
He is the founder of ReThynk AI.
Yes, ReThynk AI Innovation and Research. The piece is titled AI Transformation Starts with Culture, Not Technology, and his core thesis completely flips the script on how we usually think about rolling out new tech. Okay, let's unpack this.
Let's do it.
Parashar argues that AI fails not because of bad code,
Right.
not because of a clunky user interface, and not because you picked the wrong vendor. It fails because the organizational culture simply isn't ready to absorb intelligence.
That phrase, absorb intelligence, is doing a lot of heavy lifting there, and it is perfectly chosen.
It really is.
To really grasp Parashar's point, we have to look at the fundamental difference in speed between technology and humanity.
It's speed mismatch.
Exactly. Technology, especially AI right now, moves at breakneck speed. It can be deployed across an entire global enterprise in a matter of weeks, sometimes days.
You literally just flip a switch and suddenly everyone has access to a neural network.
Right. But human culture,
Right.
organizational culture, that is notoriously slow. It is built on years, sometimes decades, of established habits.
Unwritten rules.
Yes, unwritten rules and deeply ingrained social dynamics. And Parashar points out that AI doesn't just change the software you use to click around your desktop. It fundamentally changes 3 massive things in a workplace.
Okay, what?
It changes how decisions are made, it changes how performance is measured, and crucially, it changes how authority is distributed.
Wow. Changing how authority is distributed is enough to make anyone defensive.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, if you spent 10 years climbing the corporate ladder to finally be the person who gets to call the shots, you aren't going to happily hand that power over to a dashboard.
No one would.
And that leads to a massive aha moment in the text for me. Parashar asks us to imagine what happens when you drop this lightning-fast, ultra-logical AI into a culture that is fundamentally unprepared for it.
A culture that distrusts data.
Right. Or actively punishes experimentation. A culture that protects hierarchy over insight.
When you mix that old school environment with new school tech, you don't get a revolution.
You get a massive mismatch.
And what's fascinating here is the form that resistance takes. I think a lot of leaders expect that if their employees hate a new tool, there will be some dramatic rebellion.
Like flipping tables in the break room.
Right. But people don't generally march into the boss's office and categorically refuse to use the software. Instead, it is a powerful, subtle resistance.
It is quiet.
It is death by 1,000 workarounds.
It really is the quiet quitting of software adoption. People log in just enough to show activity,
Right.
but they aren't actually using it.
Exactly.
And Parashar breaks down exactly why this culture determines AI success more than the tech itself. He gives us 4 main reasons. The first pillar he outlines is all about trust.
Trust precedes adoption.
Yes, trust precedes adoption. Which sounds simple enough on the surface, but I want to dig into that.
Yeah.
Isn't it on the technology to prove it's trustworthy? Like, if the AI gives me bad data, of course I'm going to ignore it.
It is a fair point, and it is a very common trap for leadership to fall into. They think, well, we just need to tweak the algorithm so it's more accurate, and then people will trust it.
Right.
But Parashar's argument is that in what he calls a low-trust culture, the AI doesn't even get the chance to prove itself.
People aren't evaluating it objectively?
Not at all. They are projecting their existing mistrust of management or their fear of obsolescence straight onto the tool.
Oh, I see.
They actively look for the one minor hallucination or the one weird formatting error to justify saying, look, this thing doesn't work.
So they can go back to their old ways.
Exactly. They nod in the training meeting, and then they go right back to their desks, quietly override the systems, and revert straight back to their intuition.
Which brings up a brilliant phrase Parashar uses to describe this. He says that without trust, AI becomes decorative rather than decisive.
Decorative.
Think about the reality of that for a second. A company spends millions of dollars on AI infrastructure, cloud computing, premium licenses.
And it becomes a very expensive digital paperweight.
Yes. It turns into a fancy dashboard that leadership points to during quarterly presentations just to look innovative, but absolutely nobody on the ground uses it to actually make a decision.
That is the ultimate symptom of a low-trust culture encountering high-level technology. All optics, no operations.
So true.
But we have to look at the underlying psychology here. It goes deeper than just a cynical lack of trust in management. Parashar's second pillar gets to the emotional core of this resistance.
The fear.
Yes. He states that fear undermines intelligence. AI forces people to confront deeply uncomfortable questions about their professional lives.
And their inherent value to the organization.
Yeah.
He lists these questions out in the article, and you can practically feel the anxiety radiating off the page.
They're tough questions.
Really tough. Will my role change? Will my judgment be questioned? Will my performance be exposed?
That last one is huge.
I have to admit, reading this part made me sweat a little bit.
Oh, it makes everyone sweat.
Because we all have that one task or that one domain where we think we are uniquely brilliant, usually based on our gut feeling.
Sure.
If someone dropped a software on my desk tomorrow, that could do my job better in 3 seconds. And completely expose the fact that my gut feeling was actually just me being lucky for the last 5 years.
Your first instinct wouldn't be to celebrate the new efficiency.
Definitely not. It would be to find a way to discredit the software.
Because it is an existential threat to your professional identity. That is a completely natural human reaction.
So if we connect this to the bigger picture.
Cultures often resist AI, not because the technology is broken. They resist it because it reveals entirely too much.
Parashar calls it a fear of transparency.
Exactly. Think about how many organizations operate. A certain amount of opacity, a little bit of fog around how long a task actually takes, or how a budget is actually spent.
That fog is how people maintain their leverage.
Yes. It is how they hide inefficiencies. When AI comes in and shines a bright, data-driven spotlight on everything, a culture that fears transparency will fight back with everything it has to turn that spotlight off.
Taking that a step further, that brings us right into Parashar's third point, which focuses on how decision-making norms have to evolve to survive this spotlight.
Right.
If AI brings transparency, then the way we use that transparent data has to change. The author notes that AI introduces evidence-based decisions, predictive insights, and probabilistic thinking.
Probabilistic thinking is key here.
Let's pause on that term, because it is great, but it sounds a bit academic. What does probabilistic thinking actually look like for someone sitting in a Tuesday morning strategy meeting?
It means moving away from the comfort of absolute certainty. It means looking at an AI's output and saying, okay, the data suggests there is an 80% chance this new marketing strategy works, and a 20% chance it completely fails.
And being comfortable making a move based on those odds.
Thinking in bets. But historically, corporate leadership hasn't rewarded probabilistic thinking.
No, they reward the person who pounds the table.
The person who projects absolute confidence and says, I know in my gut this is the right move, I guarantee it.
Which is a massive bottleneck. Because if leaders continue to reward that theatrical gut instinct over evidence, the culture won't shift.
Because why would you, as an employee, stick your neck out?
Exactly. If you bring a nuanced, data-backed AI projection to your boss, and your boss just overrules it because they have a hunch about the market,
you are never going to use the AI again.
You are just going to try to guess what your boss's hunch is and agree with them.
Which kills innovation instantly. And that is why Parashar's fourth point emphasizes that AI thrives exclusively in learning cultures.
Learning cultures that encourage experimentation.
That learn continuously and, most importantly, accept intelligent failure.
Intelligent failure. That sounds like an oxymoron to anyone who has ever worked in a highly competitive corporate environment.
It does sound counterintuitive, but it is the cornerstone of making this work. Let's go back to your Tuesday morning meeting.
Okay.
You pitch that marketing strategy with the 80% success probability. You run the campaign, but reality falls into that 20% margin.
The campaign fails.
Right. In a rigid, traditional culture, you are getting hauled into the boss's office.
Yeah.
You are getting yelled at. Your bonus is slashed.
Because you messed up.
But in a learning culture, that failure is considered intelligent because you played the best mathematical odds based on the best available data. The boss doesn't yell.
You just sit down, look at the results, and feed that failure back into the AI to refine the model.
Exactly. If a company cannot make that specific shift from punishing outcomes to evaluating the decision process, nobody will ever take a risk on the AI's insights.
So we have this incredible lightning-fast technology, but it is slamming headfirst into a brick wall of distrust, fear of transparency, outdated decision-making, and organizational rigidity.
It is a mess.
Here's where it gets really interesting. Parashar highlights a massive misconception that so many companies fall for when trying to solve this. It is the fix-it-later fallacy.
Oh, this is so common.
The assumption that the organization can just deploy the AI first.
Yeah.
Get it installed on everyone's computer, force them to do a quick tutorial.
And then the culture will just sort of automatically adjust to it afterward.
Right. It is a fundamentally flawed strategy.
Parashar does not mince words when debunking it. He states clearly that culture rarely, if ever, adjusts automatically.
Why is that?
It goes back to what culture actually is at an ecosystem level. Culture fiercely resists any change that threatens its identity.
Or its power structure.
Or its established models of success. You cannot just drop a highly disruptive force into an ecosystem and expect the ecosystem to happily rearrange itself.
To accommodate the disruption.
Right. Without deliberate, proactive cultural design, Parashar argues, you do not get transformation, you just get friction.
The organization grinds its gears, fighting the new tool instead of using it. It is like putting a rocket engine on a wooden horse buggy.
And expecting the buggy to figure out how to be a spaceship.
It's not going to happen. It's just going to shake itself to pieces as soon as you hit the ignition. So what is the actual fix? How do we build the spaceship?
Parashar introduces a major strategic shift in mindset. He says forward-thinking leaders must treat culture as foundational infrastructure.
Not a nice to have.
Not a soft HR issue that you address at an annual corporate retreat with trust falls. Actual hard infrastructure, just like your servers or your cloud storage.
That is the paradigm shift right there.
Because, as Parashar states, AI does not change culture. Culture determines how AI is used.
You have to pave the roads, set up the traffic lights, and teach everyone the rules of the road before you hand them the keys to a sports car.
Precisely.
And the most valuable part of this article is that Parashar doesn't just leave us dwelling on the theory. He actually provides a deeply practical, 5-step leadership framework.
For culture-led AI transformation.
Let's walk through these steps in detail. These are highly actionable takeaways, whether you are leading a team of 5 or 5,000.
Step 1 is normalize data-driven dialogue.
Meaning leaders have to actively model this behavior. They need to be the ones visibly asking for evidence, questioning assumptions, and consciously valuing insight over hierarchy in every single meeting.
Culture changes when leadership behavior changes. It absolutely has to start at the top.
If the CEO isn't asking to see the data, the middle managers won't bother gathering it.
And the frontline workers won't bother inputting it, which leads directly into step 2. Redefine what good decisions look like.
This is a crucial distinction in the text. Parashar argues that leaders need to make it abundantly clear that a good decision is informed, not infallible.
Informed, not infallible.
That phrase alone takes so much pressure off the day-to-day grind.
It removes the expectation of perfection, which is exactly what fuels the fear of transparency we discussed earlier. He also notes in this step that AI insights should be treated as inputs, not commands.
The AI isn't the new boss dictating your every move.
No, it is a highly capable advisor. Parashar states that human judgment and artificial intelligence must coexist.
Framing it this way actively reduces the existential dread among the workforce. They aren't being replaced by the machine.
They are being equipped with a powerful new lens to inform their own human judgment.
Which brings up a fascinating dilemma. If people are supposed to use their human judgment alongside the AI, they have to feel safe enough to actually question the AI.
Yes. And that is step 3. Create psychological safety around AI.
Organizations must actively encourage questions about AI outputs. fostering constructive skepticism, and openly discussing the limitations. So we should be trying to break the AI, or at least poke holes in its logic.
Yes, you have to demystify it. If you treat the AI like some infallible magical oracle that cannot be questioned,
People will blindly follow it off a cliff.
or they will be too terrified to use it at all. Curiosity is the antidote to fear. If you are allowed to poke at the AI to ask, why did it suggest this pricing model, you start to understand its mechanics.
And AI adoption actually accelerates in environments where curiosity is rewarded.
Once the tool is demystified, you can start aligning workflows to utilize it. Which brings us to the final two steps, the operational engines.
Step 4 is align incentives with intelligent behavior. And step 5 is embed responsibility and ethics.
Let's pause on that fourth step regarding incentives. This is where a lot of companies bleed money.
Parashar writes that you have to reward learning speed, collaboration with AI systems, and responsible experimentation. The quote that really stands out is, what gets rewarded gets repeated.
Let's paint a picture of what happens when you ignore this.
Okay.
Imagine you are a sales rep. You are told by management to use this brand new AI tool that takes 20 minutes to analyze a client and output a highly customized lead strategy.
Sounds great.
But your quarterly bonus is tied strictly to the sheer volume of outbound calls you make in an hour. Are you going to sit there collaborating with the AI to craft the perfect pitch?
Absolutely not. You are going to pick up the phone and dial as fast as humanly possible because the AI actually threatens your immediate paycheck.
The incentive structure is at war with the technology.
The incentive structure is the actual steering wheel of an organization's culture. You can talk about innovation all day, but people will ultimately do what they are paid to do.
You have to adjust the key performance indicators to measure the efficiency and outcomes that the AI enables, rather than just raw human output.
And then we reach step 5, embed responsibility and ethics. These act as the guardrails for all this new efficiency. Parashar points out that cultural trust grows when boundaries are clear, accountability is visible, and ethics are non-negotiable.
There's a very pervasive misconception out there that pausing to establish operational guardrails slows down innovation.
But Parashar argues the exact opposite.
He states that having responsible frameworks strengthens rather than slows transformation. Think of it like the brakes on a car.
You only feel comfortable driving a car at high speeds if you have absolute confidence that the brakes work.
Exactly. Clear operational boundaries provide the psychological safety required for rapid adoption. When people know exactly where the lines are, they feel much more confident operating at top speed.
To pull this all together, this entire philosophy, designing the culture, setting the guardrails, and adjusting the incentives before you ever deploy the tech, is exactly how Parashar's own consultancy operates.
ReThynk AI helps organizations design these AI-ready cultures first.
They conduct readiness assessments to find out where the trust issues are, run leadership training so bosses know how to ask for probabilistic data, and build governance frameworks.
All to ensure that when the AI is finally scaled across the company, it is actually absorbed by the people, not just installed onto their hard drives.
It is a fundamentally more holistic and ultimately more successful approach than just signing a software contract and hoping for the best.
It really is.
And Parashar leaves us with an incredibly powerful final thought that summarizes this entire deep dive perfectly. He writes, "Technology can be purchased. Culture must be cultivated."
Organizations that start with the tools always end up disappointed, wondering where their ROI went.
But those that start with culture build lasting intelligence. The ultimate takeaway from this source material is that the most important AI infrastructure your organization has isn't the data or the servers or the models. It is the mindset of the human beings using them.
This raises an important question, and it is something I want everyone listening to truly reflect on before they dive back into their day.
Let's hear it.
Throughout this deep dive, we have been talking about organizations and leadership in these very broad, overarching terms. But even if you aren't running a massive global corporation, look closely at how you personally work.
Every single day.
Are you, in your own daily workflow, secretly protecting your own hierarchy over insight?
That is a great question.
When an AI tool challenges your long-held gut instinct on a specific project, do you genuinely lean into the evidence and practice probabilistic thinking? Or do you quietly look for a flaw so you can override the system, simply because you prefer your own established model of success?
Wow.
The truth is, the AI revolution might not start in the boardroom. It might actually start with auditing your own ego.
Auditing your own ego. That is a brilliant and slightly terrifying way to look at it. Because if we want our organizations, our teams, or even just our own daily routines to absorb intelligence, we have to make sure we are personally ready to absorb it first. That is all the time we have for today's deep dive. We've unpacked the hidden cultural roadblocks, the fear of transparency, the necessity of evolving our decision-making, and the 5 practical steps to actually cultivate an AI-ready mindset.
Keep questioning those old habits.
Keep leaning into the evidence, even when it challenges your gut. And we will catch you on the next one.